Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty end flat after a volatile session. Mid-caps underperform. Volatility index hits its highest level in 52 weeks.
There may be an unexplored or unattended to opportunity in that area.
Legendary investor Warren Buffett says there may be unexplored opportunities in India and future management of Berkshire could pursue them. Buffett also finds cash attractive and is currently sitting on a massive pile of $189 billion as he finds few attractive opportunities today. Chinese President Xi Jinping kicks off his three-country Europe trip from France. The EU pushed China for ensuring a more balanced trade relationship with Europe and urged Jinping to use his influence to end the Russian-Ukraine war. Israel orders 100,000 people to evacuate the city of Rafah in Gaza as an offensive looms. Israel claims the operation will have limited scope. The order follows overnight raids which reportedly killed 22 people, including 8 children. Hamas terms the evacuation order a dangerous escalation. "93 seats across 11 states and union territories will go to polls in Phase 3 of the Lok Sabha election tomorrow. This includes 25 out of 26 seats in Gujarat. The BJP has already won the Surat seat unopposed. Baramati in Maharashtra to witness a high-stakes contest between members of the Pawar family. The first 2 phases of the election saw a healthy voter turnout of 66%. Shares of REC PFC tumble after RBI proposes stricter rules for project financing. Draft rules seek higher provisioning in the construction phase, even if the asset is classified as standard. RBI invites comments by the 15th of June. CNBC TV18 learns lenders may push back on the proposal. Kotak Mahindra Bank stock perks up on a strong Q4 performance. MD and CEO Ashok Vaswani says RBI curbs on digital lending could impact its profit by 300 to 500 crores this fiscal, but adds that the impact was minimal. The CEO also brushes aside any concerns over exit of joint MD KVS Manian, said Manian does not have anything in his hands right now to the best of his knowledge. Jet Airways founder Naresh Goyal gets interim bail for 2 months from the Bombay High Court on medical grounds. He was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case. After years of delay, a Boeing Spacecraft will ferry NASA astronauts to the International Space Station tomorrow. Indian origin astronauts Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore are scheduled to blast off and return to Earth in about a week. And we spoke to Australian cricketer and captain of Sunrisers Hyderabad, Pat Cummins, on the IPL, upcoming World Cup and much more. Straight to the day's market action. The market ended the day largely lower after a volatile session. That's right, mid-caps outperformed while the volatility index hit its highest levels in 52 weeks. Surbhi Upadhyay is joining us now with all the day's market action.
Well, it turned out to be another disappointing day for the bulls, and I'll tell you why. 3 main reasons. One, the fact that this market is unable to sustain at higher levels, and this is happening consistently. 2, because we underperformed a lot of the global markets and ignored very positive global cues that were coming in. And 3, because the broader market was again reeling under pressure. Let me quickly go over these one by one. Now, this pattern about letting go of the morning highs, this is becoming a little disturbing. 4th day in a row, the Nifty unable to sustain anywhere close to the gap up. If you talk about the congestion zone, then very clearly 22,780 to about 22,800, which is where the all-time highs are. That's proving to be a congestion zone, and maybe, some charters say could be perhaps signaling a double top as well. Then we talk about the broader market trend. Today throughout the day, the advanced decline ratio was negative, almost 1,600 stocks declining. So that was not inspiring confidence. The mid-cap index consistently underperforming the frontliners with a cut of about 0.5%. PSU stocks saw a lot of selling. Actually, it was PSU and commodity stocks, metals, oil and gas. That's where the bulk of the weakness was. And on PSUs, it was across the board. BPCL, Coal India, BHEL. But the real cuts came in on the financial space, PSU financial, and that's thanks to the draft norms that the RBI put out on project financing, where perhaps provisions will start going higher. So if you look at the power financiers, PFC, REC, They were down between 7, 8, 9% throughout the session. Count in an IRDA as well. And look at PSU banks like PNB, SBI. Most of them were down and out. We had some very sharp result reactions today as well on the way up and on the way down. So tightened, disappointing, with a lot of concern now around margins considering higher competition in the market. Britannia was a surprising outlier on very strong commentary. That stock perked up 7, 8%. And then there was Kotak Mahindra Bank. Regulatory woes aside, and of course succession and the recent exits aside, the numbers themselves were scintillating and the market liked that. Finally, last but not the least, the real estate sector actually bucked the otherwise weak trend in the market, and a lot of stocks, Godrej Properties, good management commentary on Q4 and beyond there. We had Prestige Estates and Sobha also moving higher, but a bit of a wobbly day for sure.
Legendary investor Warren Buffett attended the annual general meeting of his company Berkshire Hathaway this weekend. This is the first AGM after the death of his longtime business partner, Charlie Munger. Berkshire is sitting on a massive cash pile of $189 billion, and Buffett said he finds cash attractive as he is seeing few attractive opportunities to invest. When he spoke about India, Buffett said there could be unexplored opportunities and future leaders at Berkshire could pursue them.
If we had 10 billion, I wouldn't basically see many more opportunities than we found. Now, it's true that something like Japan we could have done if the company had a 30 or 40 billion, and we'd have had great returns on equity. But if I saw one of those now, I'd do it for Berkshire. It isn't like I'm got a hunger strike or something like that going on. It's just that things aren't attractive, and there's certain ways that can change, and we'll see whether they do. India, I'm sure there are loads of opportunities in a place like India, and the question is, do we have any advantage in either insights into those businesses or context that will make possible some transaction that where the parties in India would particularly want us to participate. I would say that that's something that a more energetic management at Berkshire could pursue.
India's services activity dropped in April, but the sector registered the fastest growth in 14 years. According to HSBC India's survey, the services PMI fell to 60.8 in April from 61.2 in March. This was largely due to moderation in new export orders, muted hiring, increased operating and labor costs. Moving on, Chinese President Xi Jinping kicked off his first visit to Europe in 5 years from France. Accompanied by his wife, President Xi reached Paris yesterday to mark the 60th anniversary. She attended a trilateral meeting with French President Macron and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. They urged China to ensure a more balanced trade relationship. Speaking to the media after the meeting, the European Council President said that she also urged China to use its influence to end the Russia-Ukraine war.
We count on China to use all its influence on Russia to end Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. Today we also discussed the imbalances that remain significant. The world cannot absorb China's surplus production. Therefore, I have encouraged the Chinese government to address these structural overcapacities.
Shifting focus now to the Israel-Hamas war. The Israel military has ordered residents in eastern Rafah to evacuate immediately as they prepare for a ground offensive in the region. The evacuation call came after Israeli military bombarded the region, killing 22 people, including 8 children. Israel also claimed that Hamas fired rockets at one of the main crossings used to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza, killing 4 of its soldiers. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected ceasefire negotiations. Netanyahu said that he cannot accept Hamas's conditions to withdraw from Gaza. Pro-Palestine student protests continued across campuses in the US as graduation ceremonies began in universities across the country. Tensions flared as arrests continued amid negotiations between administrations and students. Remember, students and other protesters have called upon universities to divest any financial investments tied to Israel and push for a ceasefire in Gaza. Around 2,000 protesters have been arrested across colleges in the country so far. The Reserve Bank of India has proposed to tighten the rules governing project financing. Shares of REC, PFC and other state-owned lenders tumbled in trade after RBI's draft rules propose higher provisioning in the construction phase, even if the asset is classified as standard. CNBC TV 18 learns that lenders are likely to push back on the proposal. Ritu Singh is here with more details on the draft rules. Rita, what are the changes and its implications?
First, to be clear, this is still a draft circular on project financing. Comments have been invited by the 15th of June, after which the final rules are going to be framed. It suggests strict monitoring of stress, sets the floor for minimum exposure that lenders may take, etc. But what seems to have really spooked the industry is the proposed higher provisioning, and steeply higher at that. Now, so far, RBI rules had said that if the date of commercial commencement or DCCA of projects was extended by up to 2 years, banks will have to still set aside only 0.4% provisioning, NBFCs 0.25%. But if the DCCO was extended beyond 2 years, both banks and NBFCs had to set aside 5%. Now, the new rules propose that banks and NBFCs set aside this 5% provisioning from the construction phase itself, but this provision can come down to half if the project becomes operational and goes down further to 1% if certain other conditions are met. This 5% provision requirement also does not get implemented all at once, but in a phased manner until FY27 end. Now, if the DCCO is deferred now for more than 2 years for infra projects and more than 1 year for non-infra projects, the provision goes up even more by another 2.5%. But again, this can be reversed on the commencement of commercial operations. Importantly, RBI has proposed that these rules will be retrospective, so it will impact all existing as well as new projects. So if you're a bank funding under construction projects, for instance, the provision charge goes up from 40 basis points currently to 5% in a phased manner. Banks and industry watchers we spoke to expect these rules will further tighten the funding towards project finance. Some are even calling this a deal breaker. IIFL Securities estimates a 7 to 30 basis point hit on the bank CET1 ratio and a 200 to 300 basis point hit for infra financing NBFCs because of the rules. Macquarie believes the capex cycle recovery could even be postponed. Now, while the regulator's intent is to build a balance sheet buffer for project financing, which is inherently seen as more risky, there is bound to be some pushback from the industry. Some of the large banks we spoke to have already said they are going to take this up with the RBI.
Shares of Paytm's parent company 197 Communications fell 5% in trade. This after the company's president and chief operating officer Bhavesh Gupta tendered his resignation over the weekend. Gupta's exit marks the third top executive's resignation from the company in past few months after Paytm Payments Bank faced RBI crackdown. IDBI Bank posted a 44% rise in net profit for the fourth quarter due to a 58% drop in provisions on annualized basis. The bank's loan growth remained strong, with net interest income rising 12% and deposits growing at 9% year-on-year. However, slippages rose by 201% year-on-year, while both net and gross NPAs rose in the quarter. FMCG major Marico's fourth quarter performance met street expectations on most parameters, from revenue to profit. The company's EBITDA surged 13% higher year-on-year in the quarter, while EBITDA margins expanded by 200 basis points. For the full fiscal, net profit grew 16% year-on-year. However, revenue saw an 11.4% downtick on an annualized basis. In earnings, share of Kotak Mahindra Bank surged in trade today. This after the private lender reported a robust set of numbers in the fourth quarter, beating street estimates across all parameters. The bank's deposit growth on an annual basis was the strongest in the last 22 quarters. Speaking at the press conference, the bank's managing director and CEO Ashok Vaswani said that the RBI curbs on digital lending could impact its profit by 300 to 500 crores this fiscal. He also added that the impact was on the bank will be minimal.
There is absolutely no impact to an existing customer across any channel, any product that we have. So our existing customer base, absolutely no impact. We've been seeking guidance from our regulators on building resilience of our technology systems and on enhancing the experience of our customers.
Jet Airways founder Naresh Goyal gets interim bail for 2 months from the Bombay High Court on medical grounds. He was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in a money laundering case. The Supreme Court has refused to hear the plea by micro and small enterprises challenging the 45-day payment rule under the Income Tax Act. The Apex Court held that the enterprises need to move the High Court to seek any relief in the matter. Remember, the Income Tax Act mandates that companies that don't pay MSME vendors within 45 days will not be allowed to claim the payment as deduction. The Bombay High Court has stayed Maharashtra government's notification exempting private schools within a radius of 1 kilometre of government schools from Right to Education Act quota admissions. The court held that the amendments contravened the right of children to free and compulsory education. The Right to Education Act requires private schools to ensure that 25% of students admitted to Class 1 belong to economically disadvantaged groups in the area. Students admitted under this quota are given free concessions and the state government reimburses private schools for the same. We're going to take a break at this point, but coming up on India Business Hour, we spoke to Australian cricketer and captain of Sunrisers Hyderabad, Pat Cummins, on the IPL, upcoming World Cup and much more. And you can also catch all CNBC TV 18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. You're watching India Business Hour. The Indian Army has released sketches of 2 suspected terrorists who are believed to be behind the attack on Indian Air Force vehicles in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. The Army has announced a reward of 20 lakh rupees for any information. A manhunt is underway in the nearby forests. 1 Air Force Jawan was killed and 4 others were injured in the attack on the 4th of May. The Indian Coast Guard has detained an Iranian boat with 6 Indians on board off the Kerala coast. Initial investigations showed the owner of the fishing vessel was an Iranian sponsor who had contacted the fishermen from Tamil Nadu and issued them Iranian visas for fishing off the coast. The crew alleged ill treatment and claimed their passports were confiscated. The crew said that they had decided to escape from Iran to India using the same boat. Further investigations are underway. 93 seats across 11 states and 1 union territory will be going to polls tomorrow in the 3rd phase of the Lok Sabha election. Over 1,300 candidates are in the fray. The fate of more than half the Lok Sabha seats will be sealed after polling ends tomorrow. BJP won 71 of the 93 Phase 3 seats in 2019. Voting will take place in 25 of the 26 Gujarat seats. The BJP has already won the Surat seat unopposed. The BJP had swept the state in 2019 by winning all seats. 11 seats in Maharashtra go to polls as well, but all eyes will be on Baramati, which witnesses a high-stakes battle between members of the Pawar family. Supriya Sule and Ajit Pawar's wife, Sunetra Pawar. Voting will also take place across 14 seats in Karnataka. Polling will also come to an end in the state after Phase 3. The BJP had won all 14 seats in 2019. 10 seats in UP go to polls. The BJP had won 8 of them in 2019. The Samajwadi Party had won 2. This includes Mainpuri, which remains a Yadav family bastion. The Samaj Party has never lost the seat since the party's first win here in 1996. Shivani Bazaz is reporting from Mainpuri on the crucial seat in this battleground of Uttar Pradesh.
Well, in the 3rd phase of the Lok Sabha elections in Uttar Pradesh, 10 seats are going to polls including Sambhal, Hathras, Agra, Fatehpur Sikri, Firozabad, Mainpur, Etah and Bareilly. Back in 2019, BJP had won 8 of these 10 seats and Samajwadi Party had won 2, including Mainpuri and Sambhal. Here in Mainpuri, which is the stronghold of the Samajwadi Party, Dimple Yadav will face Bharatiya Janata Party's Jaiveer Singh and Bahujan Samaj Party's Shiv Prasad Yadav. Remember, this has always been the stronghold of Samajwadi Party. Before Dimple Yadav, the seat was associated with the name of SP patriarch Mulayam Singh Yadav. Now, even though it has been SP's stronghold, the contest is not going to be easy this time around. The Yadav vote bank that SP has always eyed and won in the area has been challenged this time by Bahujan Samaj Party, which has fielded Shiv Prasad Yadav into the fray. This could be a big threat to Dimple's race to victory from this seat. However, there is also another big contender from the Mainpuri seat, and that is Jaivir Singh, that has been fielded by the Bharatiya Janata Party, who's also the sitting Minister for Tourism and Culture in Yogi government. Now understand that apart from the Yadav vote bank, the Shakya community is also a big vote bank, and that is adding complexity to the contest is Raghuraj Singh Shakya, who was with the SP before and now has joined BJP and has a lot of influence in this area. This is likely to give BJP a push from this seat. So all in all, not an easy contest at all. For now, the constituency goes to poll tomorrow, and we will have to wait and watch for the outcome.
Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena has recommended a National Investigation Agency probe against Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal over allegedly accepting political funding from banned pro-Khalistan terror outfits. Seeks for justice. The LG claimed that Aam Aadmi Party received $16 million from the group between 2014 to 2022 for facilitating the release of Khalistani leader Devinder Singh Bhullar. Former Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren has moved the Supreme Court against the Jharkhand High Court for rejecting his bail plea in an alleged money laundering case. Kapil Sibal, who was representing Soren, requested the court to permit him to campaign for his party for the upcoming Lok Sabha polls, which is due on the 13th of May. Focusing on the aviation industry now, after years of delay, a Boeing spacecraft will ferry NASA astronauts to the International Space Station tomorrow. In origin, astronauts Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore are scheduled to blast off and return to Earth in about a week. The launch is scheduled at around 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, Indian Standard Time. Madhiya Mujawar joins us with more.
Well, indeed, a huge day for Boeing. 8 a.m. in India will be 8 p.m. in the US. Space enthusiasts from across the world will be closely watching this mission. We can only imagine what Boeing's top brass must be feeling right now ahead of this launch. The company has been battling one controversy after another in the last few months due to issues with its commercial plane 77 MAX. But after years of delay, Boeing's space ambitions are set to take flight tomorrow. Two veteran astronauts, Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore, will be flying to the International Space Station in a Boeing spacecraft called Starliner. This was a project started in 2014 when Boeing and Elon Musk's SpaceX had received contracts from NASA to manufacture vehicles to fly crew to and from the space station. While SpaceX flew two astronauts to the station in 2020, Boeing was still rectifying issues with the vehicle. This is going to be Boeing's first attempt to send astronauts to the International Space Station. It had previously conducted uncrewed test flights in 2019 and 2022. So tomorrow, Starliner will blast off from Florida at 8:04 a.m. Indian Standard Time on the 7th of May. It will be propelled by an Atlas V rocket. After Starliner separates from the rocket, it will take about a day to reach the space station, where it is designed to autonomously dock with the lab. The astronauts will stay there for a week. NASA will certify Starliner to regularly carry crew if it manages to return safely within a week. It will also give NASA two suppliers to make space shuttle vehicles. A smooth flight could bring much-needed relief for Boeing, which is fighting a credibility crisis with its commercial plane segment.
All right. On that note, we are going to be wrapping our program. But before we do that, here's Australian cricketer and captain of Sunrisers Hyderabad, Pat Cummins, speaking to CNBC TV 18's Shibani Gharat about the IPL, the upcoming T20 World Cup and his favourite Indian food.
Do you foresee SRH going ahead and winning the IPL this time round?
Of course. That's why we're here. Absolutely.
Is it a gift to self in the birthday month, which is May?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. Yeah, we've obviously, SRH have won it once before, so First goal is get to the top 4, and then anything can happen.
Moving ahead and speaking about the T20 World Cup, which is we are just a few weeks shy of the T20 World Cup. Which teams, according to you, will be the top 4 teams in the T20 World Cup?
Well, definitely Australia, and then you can choose whichever 3 you want.
Which are the other 3?
Don't care. You can pick any of them.
Don't care. Okay. Since you are in the country, I have a couple of questions to ask you about India, some lighter ones about India. Favorite stadium in India, which is your favorite stadium in the country, according to you?
Favorite stadium? I'm going to say Lucknow. Yeah, Lucknow.
Lucknow?
Yeah.
Lucknow, why is that?
Don't know, it's a bit bigger than a lot of the other stadiums. Like Bangalore and some of the stadiums are fun, but they're too small. So I'll say Lucknow. Or home, Orange Army in Hyderabad's amazing.
Okay, Orange Army since home stadium in Hyderabad. Which Indian batter has given you the nightmares, has troubled you the most?
Trouble the most? I don't know, it feels like almost every batter on their day has some of the main guys, they have good days where you don't have answers, but then I've also got them out a few times. So.
Okay. Which Indian cuisine that you have liked? Because you visited the country quite a few times in the last couple of months. So which Indian food, cuisine, meal, dish that you loved the most?
Love the most.
Is it Hyderabadi biryani?
I do love Hyderabadi biryani. I mean, today we're in Mumbai, so I'm going to say pav bhaji.
Pav bhaji?
Yeah.
Pat Cummins loves
so
pav bhaji.
Yeah.
Which Indian phrase have you picked up? Which Hindi phrase have you picked up over the last couple of weeks? Yeah.
Last couple of weeks? It's probably not a good one, but cello. That's the word I hear a lot.
Cello?
Yeah.
Cello.
Like, let's go.
Aage
Yeah.
chalo.
All right, Pat Cummins likes pav bhaji. Shivani Garat quizzing him about what he likes about India. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you for watching. News continues right here on CNBC TV 18.